Hi, I'm Craig Bowling from Self-Protection UK and South Coast Combatives. So I'm going to give you a testimonial now as to why I chose to do the Safe International online training course. So I've known who Safe were for many years, and I've been aware of Chris's work. And you don't last 30 plus years in this industry unless you know what you're doing. So Safe comes with a very good reputation. They've taught a lot of people in a lot of different capacities over the years. So I chose to do the course because I wanted to get an understanding of self-protection from a completely different perspective to what I'm used to. So here in the UK, I've trained in self-protection, I've trained in combatives, I've trained in kickboxing, I've trained in Krav Maga, but I wanted to get a perception from somebody who had been doing this work for a long time, who had taught to schools, colleges, adults, seniors, children, and got a real good understanding of teaching to a wide variety of people. And I know Chris has had that reputation for many years. So that was my incentive to look into Safe International, and I signed up for their course. I think it was in December of last year. The course format itself was very easy to understand, good content, had different contributors adding a different perspective and different perception as to what was being taught. But what resonated to me and what I really liked is that Safe and the people that Chris uses in the program, they really have an understanding of what self-protection, or what people understand as self-defense, means. So a lot of people will go to a self-defense class looking to work the physical dynamic, learning some skills to fight back, if you like. But those who have a good understanding of self-protection will know that real self-protection, real self-defense, it starts long before the physical affray. You know, the non-physical options available to you in self-protection are far more important, as important, shall we say, as the physical fighting back elements. The reason why I say they're more important is because 9 times out of 10, if you've mastered or got a good understanding of your non-physical options, you will avoid, omit or de-escalate most violence before it ever gets physical. But Safe International really understand that. They've done the research, they've got the testimonials, they've got the t-shirt, if you like. They've been doing this stuff for a long time, and they've worked with some great people. And they really understand that the fundamentals of self-protection start long before the physical. You know, self-protection relates to all elements of your personal safety in your day-to-day life. It's not just the fight outside the pub or in the alley. You know, self-protection starts at home. Self-protection relates to when you travel, when you commute, you know, when you are in your home, when you go to the shops, when you go out socially, when you travel. And the course covers basic self-protection training and ideologies for all of those elements, which is really fundamental. The next element that really appealed to me was I know the amount of work that Safe have done on conflict resolution. So I think this is a neglected area of many, if not most, self-defense or self-protection classes. There aren't many who spend a lot of time practicing the non-physical elements as much as they do the physical elements. So like I say, you go to a standard self-defense class and you learn physical skills, usually a technical response to deal with a certain threat. And that's fine, you know, if you understand all the bits that make that up. But conflict resolution is one of the most important elements. The ability to understand how we as individuals react to certain elements, the ability to de-escalate, the ability to talk somebody down. The conflict resolution part of this course, I think, was the best bit for me personally, and I certainly took a lot from it, and I will be implementing that in my teaching. The physical elements, the physical self-defense skills and techniques that you are taught as well. If you've done other elements of self-protection, such as combatives, Krav Maga, then a lot of it will resonate with you. There's a lot of similarities. What this course reiterated for me is that the best people in this industry, they usually come to the same conclusions in terms of how it should be taught, what works, what doesn't. And although there'll be different elements and different presentations depending on who you're learning from, the principles, if you like, the concepts behind it are kind of all the same, which means that we're on the right track. If we're all teaching the same sort of thing, we're on the right track. So I would recommend this course for anybody who is interested in developing their self-protection understanding from the very beginning, you know, the non-physical options, understanding conflict resolution, understanding your non-physical options inside of self-protection all the way through to the fighting back element, which should always be a last resort, but is certainly a resort that you need to be able to tap into. You know, the non-physical options will get you out of a lot, but if it doesn't, if they fail, if you are caught unaware, you need to have the physical element, you need to have the combative mindset to fight back and the physical skill sets to do it. This is all part of your self-protection armory, and they all go hand in hand. So don't spend all your time on one element. If you're training in self-protection, get all parts of the puzzle, because you need them all. Once you've got them all, then you are a better operator and you stand a better chance of being able to get through and prevail in most situations, because real self-protection is not about fighting, teaching somebody a lesson, and getting revenge. Self-protection is about self-preservation, going home safe and keeping you and your loved ones safe. And the course reiterates that and shows you how that can be done. The course also gives you the option to do physical training if you have the access to get to Chris in Canada, or have him come to you if you want to host him. So there's options and there's more elements of the course that you can go down. There's different stages of the course, there's different types of courses that Chris offers. But I would recommend Safe International for anybody who wants to start their self-protection journey and get a full understanding of all elements, or for anybody who is well into the industry and wants to develop their cultivation of thinking, develop their way of their approach to teaching. There's something in it for anybody, no matter where you are on your self-protection journey. And Chris is very generous with his time. You know, we've had a good 2-hour conversation over Zoom, and we're about to have another one. It's not just a pay for your course and you don't hear from them again. It's a very good course. It's covering the fundamentals from, you know, stage 1 all the way through to the end of the course, where you have a good idea and a good understanding of all aspects of self-protection. I would highly recommend Chris, and I would highly recommend Safe International.